Hi everyone. In this session, we will have a sponsor by Tiplay Studio. Excuse me. The co-founder CEO Mehmet Umut Ermeç will be with us. We will be talking about mobile game entrepreneurship and hypercasual. Now the floor is yours.
Merhaba.
Hi everyone. Welcome Mehmet. You can also say Umut.
Bey demene gerek yok. Umut desen daha
And
daha rahat.
you don't need to say
Yani
sir.
sadece bir şimdilik o bey laflarını kullanmayalım.
Yes,
Biraz daha
the
şey yapalım.
entrepreneurship phrase is enough. And you will have 15 minutes including the Q&A session. Together with your presentation, the questions will be addressed to you through the Q&A chat
O zaman
box.
direkt ben konuya giriyorum. Yani
Okay, then I will directly go into the subject.
orada canavar gibi birkaç soru
First,
belirledim.
tell me about myself and Tiplay.
Herkese merhabalar.
Hi
İsmim
everyone,
Umut
once
Ermeç.
again, my name is Umut Ermeç. I am one of the co-founders and CEO of Tiplay. It was founded in July of 2019 in Denizli, and our growth is quite fine as the mobile game sector in parallel with the sector growth in Turkey. And we are active in the hyper-casual field. I was born in Denizli in 1988. For long years, I lived abroad. For 10 years, I lived in New York and then 3 years in Tennessee. I also worked as a lecturer, and also I established a stand in New York on education technologies, and it didn't create a clear growth. Actually, it was like a lifestyle business. It was like a general agency in the US. It was not in the heart of the entrepreneurship to talk about the available growth. And after I returned to Turkey in 2018, and after I met my partners, I had the chance to implement what I learned in the US. It was in July of 2019 that we were established, but the workflow was designed in March, and we had common vision with my partner, and we decided to create a Silicon Valley in Denizli, and now we have downloads up to 10 millions for our games, and Rolik is our strategic partner and publisher. Together with them, we have a project called Off On, which is an accelerating program, which is a first in the world. There are many accelerators for this field in the world, but our business model, which is addressing to the teams, promising teams for the future, we provide technical support for them. And uh, this is such a structure, and there are many examples of this in the US, like accelerating programs, but implementing it in the mobile game sector is any one which has been adapted to Turkey conditions. At the moment, its download number is around 7 or 8 thousand. I hope that this year we will even further increase this number. And to cut long story short, actually that's all for tea play. And I also want to talk about entrepreneurship and hyper casual. Actually, these two concepts need to be better understood in our sector. First of all, I'd like to say that Tiplay Studio was established by three partners. At the moment, we have around 30 employees. Our monthly growth rate is around 20%. The basic reason for this is that it's actually directly are related to hypercasual because due to its structure, hypercasual type is producing many prototypes and tests are possible. Testing is possible, and of course, basing on the errors, you have the chance to see the facts and regulate it, correct it. And actually, you need to try many prototypes, and in the end, one will come up with good metrics, and that will take you to higher levels, and it will be a publishable game. Actually, producing prototype is different from launching a game. It's the final step, actually, publishing a game, and the dynamics of these two are different, and the efforts, the quantity is also different. Content and quality are different. Upon this, there are many issues to talk about, but I want to underline some points here. When we say hypercasual, ontologically, it is dependent on data. Actually, but for data, we cannot do it. Actually, just with sensations, just with intuitives, we cannot realize a hypercasual potential. But it's really difficult. Therefore, iteration is required at every step. A and B tests are required in each step. And therefore, it is actually the focal point of entrepreneurship for this sector because it is directly involved. Therefore, being successful in hyper casual depends on understanding the concept of entrepreneurship very well. Therefore, actually, you may be a little confused, but it's not that complex. Let me clarify it. There are 100 decisions that you have made, and nearly 95 of them are wrong decisions, but five of them are correct decisions. But those 95 wrong decisions do not mean that these are all waste of time, because basing on those wrong decisions, you make the right decision. And it's the same for the hyper casuals. There are 95 wrong or defective games, for example. Those are prototypes, and then you have the chance to launch a good game within the first 100 ones. So in order to find a place in the sector, you need to test all them, and and of course the developers skills and experiences are also involved here, um, and coachability is also important here. And here, the basic thing to train you is the data. It's like the artificial intelligence. Actually, at certain points, you retrieve data, and cumulative accumulation of data is ensured, and success will come in the end. This is a warranted method. Actually, we did it and it worked, and there are many other companies doing the same. There are successful companies, failing companies, but if you work basing on data in a timely manner, you will be successful in the end. It's commerce in the end. There is no warranty. Anything can happen in business life, but of course, if there is a certain target, you will be successful because the growth rate of hyper casual is clearly seen, and its coverage in Turkey is clearly seen, and its position in Turkey is seen. In hypercasual field, a French company sent me a message to work with them, and I just thanked them. There are really different messages coming to me and my friends about this with these proposals, but I reject them, and they say why, and I politely answer them that we are really satisfied with our publisher at the moment. So this is number one, and Turkey is number one in hyper casual, and we are the number one. And therefore, I do not want to work with the number two and number third. And yes, I just say that let's agree or disagree to the ones who come up with proposals. But I definitely say that Turkey is number one in hyper casual. This is not only dependent on my senses or feelings, but when we look at the growth rates, we are going up, but France is going down. You can also see the games published in that country. You will see all them. Actually, the games developed in Turkey are really very well, and the download counts are really clear. Therefore, the most important thing in entrepreneurship is timing, in my opinion. So, this is my opinion. And first of all, being timely comes in the first place. And this is the case for many other fields. For example, Facebook was also launched years ago, which was not that popular, but when the right time has come, it also achieved the success. Actually, any team who which is trying to do the regular things or the repeated things, and they will not have the chance to be successful. But in hyper casual, there's a rising wave. There's a great data accumulated knowledge in Turkey, and there is vision, there is money, there is motivation. These are all valuable assets, and when these are supporting you, you will have the chance to be successful. Therefore, I can say that when there is a startup which publishes a game with 3 employees, we have 30 employees in Turkey. So this is an advantage. Therefore, being timely is really important. So basing on hyper casual or about hyper casual, there are some critics saying that these are simple games, and these are the opinions of the amateurs. Believe me, we can hear many other opinions that they for example, think of a comedy movie. Actually, the cost is low or not, we don't know, but it's really successful at the box. So look at the box in the end. Therefore, these are valuable. So do not just think of the capital. Do not just think of the investment. The being timely is important. And a game. Uh, any game which is very successful at hyper casual is not less valuable than any game in PlayStation or in other platforms. So simple things are more difficult to put forward, actually, especially if art is in question. So it may be a song, a piece of art, in sculpture or in literature. Simplest things are the most difficult ones. So you can tell yourself within just 2 lines instead of 40 pages. So you need to work hard, work really hard. You need to put all your effort. Therefore, complexity and simplicity of a game are are compared in Turkey, but this is a hindrance, actually, in front of your open mindedness. Therefore, I'd like to say to them that please put forward a simple saying and be successful. Then criticize hyper-casual, because competition is at a top level in the sector, and therefore we need to find a find an answer to the question why. So the timing is all right, it's okay. And then the entrepreneurs shall ask themselves, why do I do this job? If they answer, um, because I do want it, there is a problem then. Just it just makes you happy, but what about the others? Because the gamers may not want it. So developing the game that you want may satisfy you, but in the long term your actual desire cannot be met. Therefore it is a hindrance before you to come to the position that you want in the long term. So there is an advantage. Let me say there is an asset, and being involved in hyper casual will be a jumping step for you to go to higher levels. Then if there is such a step in front of you, then you must step on it, because this will be a bridge for the other levels. And you may like it or not. For example, I like hyper casuals very much, and this is an issue to be evaluated in the next periods. If the foundation of your road must be robust at the very beginning. Let me give an example. For example, I would set up a company in Ardahan, a province in the eastern region of Turkey, and a few colleagues will publish a game, and 35 million people will download it, and there will be hundreds of thousands of people using that game. And then we will accumulate money, and then with that money we will publish other games, and then at one point we will also issue or publish casual, and then we may change our formats, maybe Steam, maybe console. These are all possible things. Actually, there are also examples to this. Therefore, your mindset is important. If you just consider the hyper casuals as simple and just criticize it, there's a great problem. And around the sector, there is a great positive perception. And there are people who want to be involved in the sector. And it's really difficult to find a source actually. If the human resources is also important in the sector. To sum up, the answer to the question why is not only valid for hyper casual, by the way. It may be a puzzle, it may be another form, but filling in a gap here. Product market fit is the exact term for this, and seeing the potential. These are all important. For example, the first published game of Drolik was a successful game, which was not hyper casual, and it's a good examples in this sense. It was not hyper casual; it was quite successful. There you are not restricted in a field. You can publish games in any area, but the question why shall not be only answered in emotional terms, or just considering yourself. You are filling a gap, and there must be a potential for the future, and it must be unique. And after doing all this, you will answer the question why, and then you are close to the success then. And then it is now the team's turn. And at that point, how to say, the process is not that easy. Forming a team is really difficult, because the team must be a correct team. You need to share the same vision. There are variables actually in team management, and the most important advantage of us is to have common values with people who have the same synergy with you, who have the same vision,
Herkesin bir
who share the same frequencies with you, and being partners with those people are quite important. Let me tell you about some mistakes of amateurs in this sector. There are some repetitive things that I frequently see from different segments actually. There are game developers whom I observed. One of them is a game developer who considered himself at a high level, who thought that he added value much, and he thought that the other team members were lower than him. Therefore, this couldn't provide a synergy among the team members. And this method is a lose-lose method. There is no win-win. So this is somehow egoist, and there were such leaps, such steps by him taken to increase his own share, and this in this way the team members cannot trust each other, and that system collapses in the end. And it's the same relation between the investor and entrepreneur. Actually, the investor is a boss and is a manager with the money, and the entrepreneur becomes the employee and doesn't own the work. And this is a silly cycle actually. But if everyone has the same rights, equal motivation, then everyone uh, profits from this. And or else the other behaviors are really toxic, which collapses the system. Therefore, those toxications shall not be involved in the team. Selecting the right person in the right time cannot be formalized. However, there is a logic system that I developed myself. While making a big decision, there are three main things: logic, emotion, and feelings. If there are these three, then I make my mind. And even two-thirds help me to make a decision, but blow two out of these three discourages me. Actually, my relation with hyper casual also started like this. There was emotion because I was really excited about this. I was excited about the potential in Turkey, and I was informed about this. And you do not need to be a genius to think about the future of the hyper casual when there is such a data about Turkey. And also there were other companies, there were other examples such as Pig, for example, in Turkey. Also it was not hyper casual, but I really saw and I really felt the emotions. There was also logic. I wanted to be in that business. Actually, in 2004, the daily active user number was around 80,000, and it was an incredible figure. And also the feeling about the future, it cannot be expressed in words, but from the first day, I really believed in this work. Therefore, I really uh, I really rejected many opportunities abroad, and I stayed in Denizli and got involved in the business. And now, when I say entrepreneurship, timing is important, and then being a team is important, and your purposes are important. Answering the question why is important, and what to do next. And at this point, there are many other elements such as some fields as which shall be improved in Turkey, by the way. Two people, three people cannot do a job perfectly in any sense, especially a young enterprise cannot undersign incredible successes, incredible achievements. You can see it in the examples from Google to Facebook, from Uber to MG. There are many stories, but the achievement is not at the very beginning. There are ups and downs like a roller coaster. Actually, and there are fluctuations, and just like Airbnb. Actually, it was Air Bed and Breakfast at the beginning, but it turned and it was a silly idea at the very beginning, but with the iterations, Airbnb was transformed into 2 days position. So this is also a good example. And here, having a common mindset and coming together with different people are important. And in my opinion, there are some deficiencies in Turkey for achieving a common mindset. I lived abroad for 11 years, 1 year in Norway and 10 years in the US. Both seeing the US and Europe, I started to do business in Turkey, and I really see the deficient points to improve in Turkey. Therefore, I'm that clear. Sometimes I am even criticized for saying all these, but the agnostic is followed by treatment here. There are problems in achieving the common mindset. What are they? For example, a strategical partner is important. It may be the publisher, it may be the investor, and actually, smart money investing model is also quite logical. It may be a network, data, or other investments. Anything can be involved. But when these factors are all put forward, uh, with the effect of the multipliers, actually the result really reaches huge numbers. Therefore, we found a publisher at first, uh, so that a coaching support was provided by them, and thank god it happened that way, because I'm clearly saying that we couldn't achieve that growth without those publishers. And it's not the same for all, of course. You may choose being a publisher yourself, but at some point, in order to reach that position, in order to reach millions of dollars and processing billions of data and dealing with hundred thousands of people every day, these are all difficult and cannot be achieved in one day. But a publisher, an investor, or a company may help you in that respect. And I'm very open minded about this. And a corporate, for example, may come and say you that please let's develop such games together, and your gains will be this and this, and our gains will be that. This is also okay for me. There are also such examples, and there are also companies which publish games with sponsors. Actually, it is a huge sea, and opportunities can be found in that sea. But the important thing here is to be aware of this support, and saying, I will do everything and you will see, is wrong for me. So it is like saying, uh, How dare you do? Actually, because there is a great competition. Instead of trying to get the whole pie, taking your share will be more logical from the pie. And because you may acquire more valuable things than money here, because your company share or share agreements you may make, but I assure you that while as a person who did those agreements and who earned that money, if you be partners with the right persons or right companies, you will understand that you will not be able to purchase experience with those money you earned. And skills, knowledge are all acquired through working hard, and this is really invaluable. Therefore, you need to create a common mindset, and this may be any person that you work with, but it's your desire in the first place who that will encourage you, because some people may say you that I will take your money and give you some knowledge, or this is the wrong person. But excuse me, with these people you may encounter, but there are also some other people who say that I will be your investor and I will support you in this and this field. And if there is any person like that, please do not ignore them, because these are really valuable. And there are also some things that you cannot purchase with money. And after saying this, while mentioning about all these, I'd like to mention about often as well. This is a program of us, and it is operating with a win-win method, and there is a share rate, and there are teams who are about to set up a um, enterprise, and this program makes all those teams a startup who are ready to be worldwide. And the actual purpose here is to create the greatest ecosystem in the world, and we are number one in the world, and we want to make it further known, and in the end it will be seen that not only the ones knowing hyper-casual sector, but the success of Turkey in game sector will be in the agenda of the world. And there is also one more significant thing, including all I said. Anything that we have learned, any strategy, any tactic in our minds, any action, any plan that we develop, all are nothing until they bring a result for you. Therefore, please do not confuse your map with your front. We have a guide, and please keep your guides, and all are on the paper or on the screen. But becomes the actual thing is that your guide, your map becomes valuable when you reach a result, and when you find such a reproducive cycle, then you have your real experience. And therefore, all of these learnings, your effort to improve yourself are important, and on the other hand, you need your actions. And I mean, take action. Now, When a person asks me that I want to be an entrepreneur, which books shall I read? I will answer to that person as follows: start now, today, take action, and take action, and you can read your books on the way. And this is not just jumping from one ladder to another. Generally, we were taught in the past that first complete your education and then do your military service and then start working, etc. But this is not the case for today. And actually, is the ones with entrepreneur souls are already have something in mind. Think about the computer inventors, actually Steve Jobs or other famous people, other inventors. They all have something in mind during their early or youth periods. Actually, they take action without waiting, reading this and that can be done on the way, but finding the opportunity and being timely is important. And finally, I can say that continuously we are responsible for improving ourselves and our companies. It's not only valid for hyper casual sector, but it's more important in hyper casual because there are really interesting things. When you start producing ideas, the result is not known. Iteration is required at every stage.
Başlıyorsun, Pamuk Prens ve bilmem ne diye bitiyor gibi.
Sometimes you want to make a sports game and you end up developing a Snow White story. So this genre is always open for development. This is what happened with us. You, from the very beginning, we have to learn that we shouldn't be 100% confident. We should always improve ourselves and we should always encourage our colleagues to improve themselves. So here we have the growth mindset is important. This is the mindset in which you focus on your capacity to improve yourself. For example, you have a problem in your company because someone made a big mistake and you suffer from that, and this isn't the first time. Now, when you have this problem, if you choose to punish the person, maybe you will be relieved, but you will not get the key lesson there. Ali Sözkesen, a friend of mine and an investor, said something very nice. When you can't pass an exam, life will bring that back to you over and over again. That's true. If you shout at someone saying that you shouldn't do this again, this should never happen again, you will not address the root cause of that mistake. So you will not learn anything. So in any problem, you should say, okay, this happened. I don't care what happened in the past. That's also important. But if I take a key lesson from here, how can I prevent this from happening again? So instead of punishing or entering into a ego war with someone, you should just focus on solving the root cause. And you should look at inside of you, not outside. Uh, in a podcast, they talk about this a lot. I cannot give the name of the podcast, I'm sorry, but in any issue, when you look at outside factors and try to justify your mistake, it's quite easy. You can say, I did an accident because there was the rain and the road was slippery. So you can justify yourself because maybe it was raining, maybe your wheels were not in a good condition, but you can approach it in a different way. You can say, what can I do to prevent this accident from happening again? Maybe I can change my tires. If I can take this lesson, then I will improve myself. Maybe this may sound not quite like entrepreneurship, but in my professional life, I always try to do this. When something happens, I don't look at the outside conditions. I don't care about it. I look at what I should do so that it doesn't happen again. What should I do to make this better? This doesn't mean that I'm the perfect person. Of course, I have some problems. This is something I struggle in, but by chance, I have turned this into a reflex, this mindset of growth. I'm always trying to improve myself, and I always try to use my spare time playing games. I try to play this kind of games, or if I want to have a chat with a friend in my spare time, I try to choose someone who will contribute to me. And I choose proper hobbies which will help me improve myself. This is my mindset, and I see some positive impact from this. So, as a final word, I would like to say this. You should always look at how you can improve yourself. You should be actively seeking ways of doing that. And if you do that, you will have this culture, you will have this team culture. So I stop at this point and maybe we can continue with the questions. Yes, we have two questions. I will read them out. An anonymous attendee asks, what does it mean to work with data? How should we use the data? What should we learn? What should we read from the data? Well, that's a specific question and I will give some specific answers. What does it mean to work with data? We develop a game. For example, we say this phone, there should be a ball. This ball should go there and the rabbit should catch it. So let's try it. So the first reflex is to get a data from that. So we say, let's develop this game, put it in the market, have 100 people play it, and get data from these players. What kind of data? For example, cost per install, CPI. What is the advertisement budget per download, per install? And other data, such as retention. The retention of players. 100 people played this and 48 people came back within 24 hours. That's great. 48% retention is a good number, but if it's 20%, that's not good. And playtime. We put this on the market. 100 people played it, and the CPI is high and the retention is low, but for example, 30%, not very bad, but not very good. but the playtime is 25 minutes. We wonder why, because in hyper casual games, we say 5 or 10 minutes is good. And we see this has a playtime of 25 minutes. That means that we have something going on here. So I can give more examples, but briefly, having people play the game and seeing how many users you lose between which levels, and you can get some data from that. So we go iterations with that. This is what I mean by data-driven work. Fırat Kopmaz asks, what kind of actions you should take during the adaptation process between being successful and maintaining success? Nice question. Thank you, Fırat. Fırat is one of our engineers. I'm glad we have him here. Being successful is very different from maintaining success, and that difference is system. You can succeed, and there may be several reasons for that. Maybe you were lucky, you are having a good day, and you had a good idea, maybe with the help of God, you succeeded, but this doesn't mean that your success can be sustained. For example, when I play football, sometimes I'm lucky and I score a very nice goal. Someone would say I play very not good well at all times, but maybe I was just lucky at one time. So I need to make sure that my success is sustainable. I should try to score the same goal over and over again. So I need to have a system. So in our company, we have several important projects. One of them is a system that will optimize the functioning of the whole game mechanics that covers game development, employment, company culture, feedback. So sustainable success comes from your system. So from day one, you should work to build this system. But nevertheless, I have to add that it has been about 18 months since we started this company, and this system is completely renewed and continuously we identify mistakes, we correct the wrong things about it. So this data-driven work in game, we also do it in our business, in our system. We are running out of time, so we will have one more question. This is the last question. An anonymous attendee asks, how should we get data? The paid versions of Sensor Tower, they are very expensive, and how can we scrape data when we reach CPI in our own game? Because it's not quite easy to distinguish whether the art style or the mechanics is working. What should we do? I will not give you the answer that you're looking for because I don't know, because it's not my job. This is about digital marketing, calculation of CPI, the differences about that, and how to interpret data. This is about data science and data analysis, data visualization. So game analytics, sensor tower, and market intelligence tools cost hundred thousands every year. So it doesn't make sense to have a sword in your hand when you go into this, where there are many marketers. I didn't take a specific action in that area because we want to improve ourselves in game development side. We want to create the biggest game development ecosystem in Turkey. In Turkey, we are the biggest studio now because we wanted to do that. Because if we wanted to improve ourselves in multiple fields, you can also do that, but we didn't want to do that. So this is not the ultimate right thing to do. This is just my recommendation. And if you ask someone else, maybe Ruby is a very successful studio, and Mertcan would tell you something else. So it doesn't mean what he's saying is wrong and what I'm saying is right. But my personal and humble recommendation is that choose your wars right, choose your fronts right. Don't try to fight multiple fronts at the same time. Don't try to start a team and develop games and do other things at the same time. I'm sure this is not a satisfactory answer for you, but I think you should listen to me. This is just my humble opinion.
Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much for your participation and for sharing your experience with us. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it because we don't have any interaction. So I don't know if people really enjoyed it, but I hope they did. And you can always reach me for your questions about what to do to improve yourself in the industry. You can reach me at umut@tplaystudio.com.
Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
Görüşmek üzere.
We thank you. Hope to see you soon. Bye.